panel in order to shed light on one of the most important issues mainly here in the Human Rights Council, which is human rights violations everywhere. Of course, we condemn any human rights violation everywhere. My name is Mahfoud and I'm from Western Sahara. I would like to first start by a brief introduction about what Western Sahara is, what's going on this land, and what's really happening now on Western Sahara, and what kind of human rights violation we are facing on a daily basis. My colleague Galio talked about landmines, and this is only a simple part about what's happening in Western Sahara. Landmines in Western Sahara, of course, Western Sahara is one of the most contaminated zones of landmines, but this is a part that gets only, casualties every year. However, on the occupied territories of Western Sahara, we get daily human rights abuses, daily violations, and constant violations to the basic rights. As I said, to start by introduction, Western Sahara was colonized by Spain for almost 100 years, from 1884, Berlin Conference, to 1975, where it withdrew from the territory, not allowing, unfortunately, the people of Western Sahara to exercise their inalienable right to self-determination, as it's the case of all the colonized nations. Spain, in this case, did not assume its responsibility in this African colony, and did not allow the Western Sahara people to exercise their right to self-determination, and withdraw from the territory in a very shameful way. Spain withdrew by dividing the territory in two parts, a part given to Morocco, and the other part given to Mauritania. So, of course, the Sahrawi people, and its representative, the Polisario Front, launched resistance against occupation, against this second phase of occupation led by Morocco and Mauritania. This resistance continued as a war, as an armed resistance, for almost 16 years, and in 1991 the UN intervened. The UN intervened to seek for a peaceful solution to the Sahrawi issue, to the Sahrawi question. The UN intervened in 1991 and promised the Sahrawi people to be consulted and to exercise and to hold a referendum in which Sahrawis can decide whether they want to be independent nation or they want to be integrated into Morocco. However, this promised referendum did not happen until today. We have been waiting for 26 years. Morocco is putting constant obstacles in order that this referendum will not take place and the Sahrawis will not decide their own future. So, briefly, the situation now, we have the majority, the huge parts of our people living under Moroccan occupation on the occupied territories, and we have also another half of our people living in the refugee camps in Tindouf, southwest of Algeria. These refugees were obliged to flee their homes, to let everything, because they were bombed with phosphor, with napalm, and with other prohibited arms that Morocco used during its war in Western Sahara. So some of the Sahrawi population was obliged to flee and to settle in refugee camps in Tindouf, where they are now building, and they are now making possible a state in exile, waiting the promise of the United Nations to let them the possibility to exercise their inalienable right to self-determination. So this is briefly the history of Western Sahara, but what I want to focus and to put to shed light more in is the situation and what is happening now in Western Sahara. As I said, Morocco invaded Western Sahara in 1975, and since that time and up to now, Morocco is exercising the most brutal and the most unacceptable human rights abuses, as you can see part of them on the photos. So Morocco did not only deny the Sahrawis to exercise the right to self-determination, but also started to violently stop any voice or any claim for independence or for self-determination. Sahrawis, since the beginning, have always been protesting, have always been demanding their inalienable right to self-determination, to independence, and to be free, because they didn't belong to Morocco, they didn't belong to anyone. As you know, also it's worth mentioning that Western Sahara is one of the 16 non-self-governing territory, and it's mentioned in the the resolution 1514 is applicable to Western Sahara, and the Sahrawi people are given by UN Assembly resolutions the right to exercise themselves by referendum. However, these are only resolutions. The United Nations is making every year resolutions, but when we get to practice, this referendum didn't get to happen. So, as I said, the Sahrawis from the beginning started to protest, started to show their inacceptance, their refuse to this occupation, because they know they don't belong to anyone else. They are Sahrawis, and they have the chance and they have the right they should have the right to build their own state into their land. Morocco is oppressing, is using force, and it's brutally stopping any voice that will ask for the referendum, ask for self-determination, and ask for independence in Western Sahara. And uprising in Western Sahara took place since the beginning. Sahrawis have always been protesting. These protests, however, are always faced with brutal interventions in the 90s, in the 80s before that, and in when the Sahrawis get to know that the UN did not bring any solution, started to make pressure on the international community and Morocco itself by leading huge and very big manifestations to demand and to demand the right to independence. The Intifada, which is the uprising in Western Sahara, started in May 21st, 2005, in which the majority of the Sahrawi people in the occupied territories decided to get out to the streets to protest and to demand the end of the Moroccan occupation. And of course, this was faced with brutality, with violent intervention, with detentions, with also assassination to many independence activists in Western Sahara. Morocco was practicing its real face, which is the face of don't respecting human rights, the face of brutality, and the face of not letting people express themselves. So this is what happened in Western Sahara, and what is still happening. The Sahrawis are not allowed to express themselves. So from 2005 and up to now, Sahrawi still protest, still claim the right to self-determination and the right to independence. But unfortunately, Morocco is not respecting this right. But more than this, Morocco is putting into jail, is detaining everyone who dare to claim the independence of Western Sahara. So this situation is still carrying out, continues, and Western Sahara people still didn't have the right to exercise its right to self-determination, and we are waiting till this moment to have this opportunity. That's all for now. I'll be happy to get any question on this regard. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for sharing this statement. I pass now the floor to Reverend Baby Thomas from India.